story on how I got started, and but I'm really excited to be here with you guys. I have been coming here. We're trying to figure it out, but I think I've been coming here. Well, we know at least 15 years, but I think about 17 years. I've been coming to Las Cruces to train for that many years. You know, I'm seriously don't know why I don't get a free room at the Fairfield Inn. I'm serious. You don't recognize me. I've been coming here for 15 years.
I told you you got a room at the bed and breakfast at the Lindley residence.
I did stay here once, so, but my husband's a hotel person, so.
Maybe not after I told him you could eat all the food.
If I don't bring him with me, you know. Okay, he likes to come with me. And I am really excited to be here because the passion I have with my business is teaching other people how to do the business. And that's what I love to do more than anything else. I love doing my shows and teaching people how to make quick meals and save money and time and all that. But this is what I really love to do is training other people. So I'm excited that you guys came out, especially on Memorial Day weekend. And I said, if there's any director that could get a group of people together on a holiday weekend to have a meeting, it's Kathleen. And I don't know what she did to you to get you here, but thank you for being here.
She swore us to secrecy.
Oh, yeah, she's not telling you. It's checks in the mail, right? So we're going to work on a little bit of everything. The other thing I've learned in 21 years is I can come up with like all this great training stuff, but you know what I know everybody needs every single time I come out here is the basics of the business. So we're going to try and do some little small group brainstorming and things like that, so I'm not the only one talking, because we know, the other thing we know is that there's so much information in this room. There's brand new people that are going to be probably a little overwhelmed, but we're not doing, we're really going to talk about words and how you present things, because I really believe the way you say things makes all the difference in the world. You know, whether you're doing it with your husband or your wife or your kids, it's just a huge skill that you can learn. So we're going to talk mostly about that through all the basics of the business. So what are the basics of the business? Selling, recruiting, host coaching. Okay. So we were having this conversation. I'm not going to say it because we're taping, but you know, not everybody. Who loves getting on the phone? Oh. I see no hands. So those of you watching from the video, nobody's hands went up. Nobody likes getting on the phone and looking for a booking. So we're going to try today to start at the beginning, which is getting the booking, okay? And there's lots of places where we get bookings. And then we're going to talk about, once you have the booking, what's the next step? Making sure that the show happens and that the show is great, and that's host coaching, okay? And again, nobody likes to be on the phone a lot. Your host doesn't want to be on the phone a lot, right? So it's communicating on the front end, figuring out how in the middle, doing some things in the process that make it so you don't have to be on the phone all the time, and then making sure that she's doing what she needs to do. And you guys taking responsibility for your part in that process, okay? I always say if you're not going to host coach, if you're saying, you know what, that's just not something I'm going to do, take the day off, because if you're not going to have a business if you don't work with your hostesses. Everything happens as a result of the show. Everything happens around the show. Okay, so I have the show, so now, and people are coming, what's the next thing? Selling skills, right? Getting the booking at the show and getting the recruits, okay? So those are really the basics of the business, and it's pretty much all the same thing. If I can sell you a food shopper, I can sell you the business, I can sell you a fly swatter. Okay. So is there a mystery around the fly swatter thing? For the brand new people, every month that you do 2 shows, the company gives you something. So in April, they gave you that $55 worth of cool and serve tray for doing 2 parties. So if your minimum goal is, I will always do 2 parties because somebody's going to give me something free, that should always be your minimum goal. I'm doing 2 parties no matter what. I don't care, that's my absolute minimum that I'm going to settle for. This month it is the picnic blanket, which actually is, I don't know, does anybody have it yet? It's nice, isn't it? It's like kind of it's quilty on one side, but it's the slickery stuff that's the same as the bags on the other side. So you put that down, you don't get the, I can't believe we didn't have one out at White Sands yesterday. I should have brought mine.
Who was going to bring theirs last night?
In June, is June? In June you earn a very cool product. So I got to take a minute to tell you about this product because there's history with this product. Teresa remembers it.
I have 2.
You have 2.
They're chewed up by my dog. They are missing pieces.
And
I would not throw them away for $1 million.
It's still the best fly swatter in the world. Okay, so many years ago we sold a thing called the Super Swat, and it's a fly swatter. And you've seen the picture of it, and you've probably read a little bit about it and everything. It was a big seller. And Doris Christopher, the founder of the company, hated this fly swatter in the light. She didn't want it, and Jay, her husband, loved the fly swatter, you know. And so she's like, we're dropping the fly swatter. She's like, you can't drop the fly swatter, and, you know. And she's like, we're dropping the fly swatter. So for a little while, we didn't have it. And of course, the field was like, I can't believe you dropped the fly swatter. They brought the fly swatter back. I don't know how many years ago it was. And so Jay put a bell, Jay, Doris's husband, put a bell in the warehouse. So this was before it was as big as 7 football fields. I mean, it was like a little warehouse thing. He put a bell down there, and so every time somebody packed a super swat, they would ring the bell so that Doris could hear how many super swats were being sold, okay? Well, then we dropped it again. I have no idea why. And so it's back because they ask us all the time, and you know, all the nationals, we're all like old. We've been in the business forever, and so we always remember things like the super swat. And so we said we can give super swat, bring the super swat back. It'll be fun, and you know, everybody will like it for summer. So they did, and it's pink and black. But the cool, so if you're going to sell, so she's like, I'll get the super swat, okay? So I'm going to pretend, I wish I would have brought mine. So I'll sell you the super swat, because this is something that's going to be exciting at your shows to sell. And you got to earn it in June. If you don't have it, you're not going to sell it. Okay, it's a 60, they don't get it unless they spend $60 at a July party, okay? What happens when you have 10 people that spend $60 at a July party? You have a $600 party. So the company does those things for us. Okay, so that we have big shows. So if you sell the super swat, they're going to want the super swat. They're going to spend $60 to get it free because they can't get it any other way. Okay, the only way you guys can get it is either to spend $60 at a July party. Well, that would be dumb, right? Or you do 2 shows in June and they're going to give it to you free. So this is the super swat, and you may be thinking, like, I can't believe that Pampered Chef is selling something like a fly swatter. That doesn't seem very Pampered Chef-like, but really, I mean, it's a reality, right? There's certain things we just don't talk about in public. Toilet paper, although that's getting very popular to talk about in public now, and fly swatters, things like that, okay? Now I gotta tell you, this is the only Pampered Chef recipe or product that does not come with a recipe, okay? So, but the unique things about this fly swatter, first of all, you're gonna notice that, how many people have a fly swatter right now that you kind of lean it in the corner or whatever, and it's all curled up like this, right? You don't, and girls, how do you kill a spider? We don't step on spiders, do we? Right? Okay, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Okay? With this fly swatter, you got this lippy little fly swatter, you're not going to like try and kill a spider or scorpion. Is that, do we have those? What do you have here? Okay. You're not going to kill something like that with a wimpy little fly swatter, okay? This thing is never gets wimpy, does it?
No.
It is as strong as the day you bought it 10 years later, okay? It also goes in the dishwasher. Not with your dishwasher. But it does go in the dishwasher, so, because you know, those get nasty too. So now if you're going to notice right here, we're going to pop this off, there's a little dustpan that comes with it. Okay, so that when you kill that spider, instead of, you know, picking up the spider, because what do? We use like 7 pieces of paper towel to pick up that tiny little spider, right? And so we're just going to take, and look, on the end of our fly swatter, look, there's a little broom. So we're just going to sweep up our little dead spider carcass into our little dustpan, and we're going to throw it away, right? And then you can snap it back on there, and it stores together. But sometimes you hit one like on the screen, and what does it do? It either sticks to the screen, or it falls down in that track of the window, right? How are you going to get it out? So look, right here on the end, a little pair of tweezers. So that you can just pick them off the screen or pick them up out of the track of the window. So it is the best fly swatter you're ever going to buy, and the only way you can get it tonight is with your $60 order. So you're going to want to make sure, if you can't come up with 60, take the book home, talk to a couple friends, go to work, say, hey, I'm putting in a Pampered Chef order, you need anything? You can put it on your order, you can keep the free fly swatter, okay? That's going to be hard to say. Sometimes I stumble over my words. I have not been drinking. I have Invisalign braces in, and so sometimes I get a little tongue-tied. So now, do you want a fly swatter?
Yeah.
No? It's the best fly swatter. You're going to love this fly swatter when you get it. Okay. Exactly, and the guys love it. Okay, so, I went to Kathleen's show the other day, and it was great, and I took like a whole page of notes of things, and so we're going to talk about, first we're going to talk about bookings, okay? So, where do you get your bookings? At a show, and not at a show, okay? We're not really going to get into the whole vendor fair thing. That's another whole art, and I know we got a couple people in the room that are really good at doing the fairs and all that kind of stuff. But first we're going to talk about at the show, and I know I role-played this with somebody the other day who's going to help me. I think it was Aaron. You can do that with me again, because you kind of know where we're going with it. But bookings at the show is the easiest place to get bookings, okay? If you're not getting bookings at your shows, there's probably a few reasons that you can kind of self-assess. So why do people book shows?
To have fun.
To have fun?
To get products.
Free products? Okay. Okay, have fun and free products. You think that's pretty much why people book shows? Okay, and probably because they connected with you in some form or fashion, right? You know, has anybody been to a home party where maybe the consultant wasn't the most stellar consultant, and you kind of liked the product, but you thought, I don't know if I don't really want to have a show, right? Has that ever happened to you? Okay. I'm not saying that everybody has to love you to book a show, but it's part of the equation that you sort of got to connect. And I got to watch Kathleen connect with every single person that came into her party. And it's something that I think I did 20 years ago that I pretty much don't do anymore. But I mean, she's ready. When they walk in the door, she's walking up and she's going, "Hi, I'm Kathleen, and who are you? What's your name?" Kathy, thanks. It's so good to see you, my dear. And she said, "My dear," and "sweetie," and she called them all sorts of things. And so they were all feeling good. You might not want to do the sweetie thing, a little creepy from the guys.
She's gonna be quiet.
But there's a connection thing there, and when you're talking about words, and sweetie and all that may not be your thing, but there's something to that, okay? So that's where the bookings start happening, because they start connecting with you, okay? You don't have to be the funniest person in the world, you don't have to be the most knowledgeable person in the world, and so I had a chance to talk with the host afterward and a couple of the other neighbors, because it was for a neighbor that lives up the street. And they were all like, "We just love Kathleen because she's so real, she's so down to earth," and that's what you want to be. You don't need to be like this perfect pampered chef person doing this perfect presentation. You're not on TV, that kind of stuff. You want to just be yourself and love the products and talk about the products, and that's kind of how they're going to connect with you. Okay, so they book shows for free stuff and fun, because that really is a big. Think about when people book shows, they're not just thinking about free stuff. That's a big factor. But do you want to invite your friends over to come to some thing that's not fun, right? You don't want to do that. So fun is probably your first factor in getting your bookings. So you want to make sure that you're having fun and they're having fun. The other thing, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, where we're like, "Come on, have a party, come on, oh, it's so fun, get your friends together, we'll have a party," and then they come to the party and you're like, "Okay, sit down and shut up and listen to me," okay? And so now it's like, I thought this was a party, okay? She let them, oh my gosh, they were talking as much as they weren't talking at this party. They were really having fun, but she used the catalog a lot to keep them kind of on track. And so it was so funny, because they'd all be like, and pass the food back and forth and everything, and then Kathleen would say, "Okay, everybody turn to page 29. And everybody would go, "Vroom." And they'd turn to page 29, and then they were listening again, But it's okay to let them have fun. We can talk about the whole out-of-control parties and all that kind of stuff, but the only reason that out-of-control parties bother you is because you think everybody's supposed to be listening to everything you say, but they're at a party. Okay, so that's another thing, that she says something that brings them back. So we'll kind of keep working on that throughout the whole show. Okay, so you're at your show, and you're going to make sure they're having fun. So you might open your show with something like